it's a cloud-based core HR. It supports the life cycle from recruitment to the retirement of the employee. It's actually a foundation for a BizX suite. It sits.
Can you make it full screen?
Yeah.
The very bottom. Yeah.
Did I? Oh yeah. Is this okay? So EC is basically the foundation for the BizX suite. It sits as the base for the execution suite that's provided by SuccessFactors. The first part that you see here in Employee Central is an HR data. It captures the personal and employment information like, date of birth and then job title, compensation, etc. The next part that you see, this is called a foundation table or foundation objects. It's basically defines the company structures. This everything is defined in XML, which is also called data models. These are the data models in Employee Central. So the Employee Central comes with employee self-service and manager self-service, which is basically based on a role-based permission. So it defines who can edit or view the data in the system.
Let's close that.
So the data models define the structure for the HR data and the foundation tables. So the data models are basically, there are 7 data models. They are set up in such a way that in Employee Central is such a way that it satisfies company's requirement. So basically it defines the org structure, the personal and employment information, it defines a structure for that, for the employee. And they come in, predefined package. The SuccessFactors already defined the structure. So the company only has to, adjust these XML structure for their, depending on their requirement. So when company purchases the Employee Central and they want to implement, they already have this XML structure available. They just have to download from the partner portal and do a little adjustment in the XML files and upload them in the provisional system. The first XML structure is corporate data model. It basically defines the company's org, pay and job structure. It has something called foundation objects. The corporate data model is based on foundation objects. So what it is basically defining the company's structure. So, and it is divided into 4 main areas: the org structure, job structure, pay structure, and other objects like event reason, workflow, and dynamic roles. So with foundation objects, you can set up the data that can be shared across the entire company, such as job codes, departments, cost centers, legal entity, etc. This is the example for corporate data model. So the location basically is an ID. It's for the foundation. This one is called the foundation object or foundation table. So the foundation object could have many fields. So this is one of the field for the foundation object location. The field has an ID called external code. So these IDs cannot be changed. Like the ID for this foundation object location should not be changed, but you could change the label for the the foundation object as well as the fields. There is something called association. It's only defined. This is the association part in XML structure. You can define this only in corporate data model. It's actually defining a relation between the foundation objects or or between the generic objects. So you could define one-to-one association or one-to-many association. So This is basically defining structure, org structure for your company. So in this example, you see, the association as one to many in the foundation object called location. For the many represent for the company and one represents the location. So there are like many companies in the same location. That's what the association defines. The next is the next data model is succession data model. So succession data model defines the structure for it is to set up a data related to the people in the company. So the data is divided into person data and employment data. The person data includes information which is linked to the person, and it's not with respect to the job. So it is the employee's address, national ID, date of birth, etc. But employment data, it's related to the job related information about the person, like what's his compensation, what was his hire date, the job title, the description about that. So that structure captures the employment part of the person in the company. The XML structure is very in a succession data model is very similar to the corporate data model, but it doesn't have association part of it. It is the association is captured only in the corporate data model. Like similar to corporate data model, it has the H risk element ID, which is also like similar to foundation object. Here the element ID is job info, and it has fields like ID as company and department. It also has again a lot of division in succession data model. Basically, you have something called HRIS element, and then HRIS sync mapping, where you can set up HRIS sync for fields from employee central to the fields in employee profile. The next comes is country-specific data models. So there is a country-specific data model for corporate data model, and then you have for country-specific for succession data model. So basically, country-specific data models capture, the data which is with respect to the country-specific. Like, for USA, what is the fields or the foundation objects which are very specific to the country. For example, in corporate data model, you would capture something like you had FLSA, which is only valid for USA and not for any other country. So similarly, like some specific data is captured in this country specific data model. So that's what you capture in corporate data model. Like in succession data model, the country specific would be like national ID, where like in US we have social security number, but not in other countries. They would have a similar to that but different format. So the capturing of that data is done in country specific succession data model. The next is the propagation data model. The propagation data model is define the rule in the data model to have the system automatically populate the fields from foundation object, that is from corporate data model, to the employment object of succession data model. So in order to, like, here is an example for propagation rule. This is from the data model. What it defines is, in order to propagate the time zone field from the foundation object to the employment object time zone, it is defined for this particular this is defined for this location. Like for this location, this is a time zone, so it has to populate this information in employment data. So when you choose a location, the time zone should be automatically populated in this particular portlet. So a rule is defined, and then you define a mapping between the foundation object and the employment object. So this is the mapping defined for between the foundation and employment object. So if this is defined, to reduce the amount of data the user has to enter manually. It improves the consistency of the data, and the user doesn't have to enter this information if it is populated.
So Anagha, so when you're launching a new project, so you have to define all these things in the XML,
Yes.
create this XML, use the basic XML provided by SuccessFactors, make changes
Right.
as required, as modify based on the company's requirements, and then you upload them through the provisioning system. Is that right?
Yes, yes. The basic structure is given by by SuccessFactor. We just have to tweak according to the company's requirement. We don't have. It won't be, I think, a lot of changes. It would be because they have standardized, set of structure. So the deviation would be little. It won't be too much. So. And this propagation rule is not for, I think, it's not defined for all the portraits. It's only defined for, I think, the job information, a particular part only, like employment data. That's where only the propagation takes place, but rest all, I think, it's not allowed.
Okay.
The next data model is event reason derivation rule data model. So basically, events are nothing but the actions or the changes happening in the employee data, such as promotion or department change, etc. So there are like about 25 predefined events that are captured by SuccessFactor, and they sit in a pick list. So before doing this, defining this rule, uh, or using this rule, you have to upload this 25 predefined events pick list into the system. So the events are like, hire, then rehire, termination, promotion, change of department. There are like 25 of them that they have been captured. Event reason is basically is capturing the reason why this event is happening or why this event has occurred. Like for example, if you take a case of a termination, so there should be a reason that needs to be defined why the termination has occurred. Is it because the employee has left the company, is leaving a company, or is it because of his low performance, or etc., something like that. So you need to capture that reason in this system. So if a company is using any of these events, the event reason should be defined. They are defined as a foundation objects. So you define this when you go to, when you enter a system, when you log into the system, you have something called employee file section. Let me see if I can. So if you go to admin tools, you'd define all your, the objects that you would create. You go to employee files, and you'd go to manage organization, pay, and job structure. That's where you define, the foundation objects, the reasons. See, this is how they would define the event reasons. These are like already been created, but we could create a new and then define the event reason and use this event reason in that rule. So you have to define the reason ID, like it's an ID that you are going to use it in the event reason derivation rule data model. You define the description, and you have to define the status. The status is will define if it's whether the employee data will be changed or not. So basically that's where that information goes. So this is the particular foundation object that you're going to define it before you use this event reason in the role.
So first you have to define the event reason, right?
You have to upload the events which are given by which are in the pick list.
Yep.
Given by the success factor. You have to upload that, and then you have to define the reason. So if your company says we are not going to use it, but even if they use the events, you have to define event reason for all the events that they are going to use.
Yeah.
So the admin has to define this reason.
Pay change, some.
Yes. There won't be any rules defined for 5 events like hire, rehire, termination, leave of absence, and return from leave of absence. So for those 5 events, you're not writing any rules in your event reason derivation rule. But for rest of the actions and their reasons, you're going to write a rule.
Yep. Okay, very good. Event derivation rules, okay.
So you have something called, like, this is an example of event reason data model where you define some ID, rule ID, and whatever event reason that you defined before the one where I showed you in that employee file, manage org job pay structure, that's where you define that reason. That ID you're going to use it here in the true output.
Yep. Can you show us where do you define the rule, that rule 1? Where do you define that rule ID?
No, this is a rule ID. You could define anything, say rule XYZ. But in this rule XYZ, this is the rule ID. The job change is a rule ID. This is the, like, pay change should be used here.
Yep.
Instead of job change.
Got it.
So that's where you define that event reasons rule ID.
Yep.
This is nothing but this is a tag, rule ID, rule 1. This is just a tag.
Yep.
And you define basically the conditions. These are logical operands. You could use like and, or XOR. So I didn't actually what I understood from this one is basically if you have expressions within this, if you want the expressions coming from a different IDs, like different foundation objects, like here they say job info dot job code. So basically this is a job info is basically a foundation object, and this is a field job code. So if you have a different expressions, then you could use and as a logical operand. So you define your expressions in the logical operand. What does this mean?
What happened? You got stuck?
That you would write between the logical operand and, or XOR. And the next...
Can you make it again the full screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an expression which is defined between the logical operators. It could be and, or XOR. There is another comparative operand called equal. You write expression in this. So this is expression job info dot job code. So inverse true, what it means is basically is when you define, when your job code is different or you change, if the user changes the job code, that's when this expression has to be true. That's when you write inverse is equal to true. It means when there is a change in the data.
Mm-hmm.
The next, the data model is a workflow rule data model. So workflow is basically an approval process for, for changes the manager or the employee makes to the employee data. There are various, the admin defines the various approval types. The approval types are roles, dynamic role, and then dynamic group. So role means either the approver is an employer or employer's manager or the HR manager. It's a single person. Whereas the dynamic role is it allows the system to define who's going to approve that particular data. So you define a kind of a dynamic role where a system, depending on what legal entity you have chosen, it chooses that particular manager to approve your data.
Yep.
Dynamic group is it's a group of several approvers the admin sets up before creating workflow. So any member of that group can approve the workflow. So there are several configurations needs to be done in corporate data model and succession data model before setting this workflow rules. It's the structure, if you look at it, like if you look at this particular example, it's very similar to what you define in event reason, a derivation rule. It's like, you define with rule ID, and you also have to define the workflow. It's just at the same place you define where in employee file, manage, or job pay structure, that's where you create a rule event reason, right? Similarly, you have to also create a workflow at that particular location.
Okay.
So you could, the workflow rules could be triggered for an event, for event reasons, or for, for particular field. If a particular field is changed, you could trigger a workflow.
Excellent, excellent, very good, very good. So in a summary, go back here. So you have 7 data models.
Yeah.
7 data models. In the order of sequence, you have to first do the corporate data model, and then you have to do the country-specific corporate data model, succession data model, country-specific succession data model, your propagation rules, and then your workflow rules, and also your event and derivation rules. There are 7 data models that come standard, with the system. And then I'll show you. I'll kind of show you each of those data models. You have to download from the portal, tweak it, and upload it through the your provisioning.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a second here. Thank you very much. Hold on. I did not record it. Okay, I'm just going to repeat myself. Okay, forgot to record it. So as you can see here, we have data models that we imported from the SuccessFactors partner profile. This is a corporate data model, succession data model, the propagation rules, event derivation rules, workflow rules, and then you have to install the XML pad. You have to download it from any open source sources. You can download that XML pad so you can view it. You can edit this XML in XML code in the XML pad. and you can save it, and then you can using the provisioning ID you have to import that back. You can see here at the very top you have the foundation objects. So each of the data model has foundation objects, and foundation objects is nothing but like similar to a very table, and within the foundation objects you have fields that define different elements of that foundation object, and you also can create custom foundation objects and custom fields within the data model and import that using the provisioning ID. This is the corporate data model that we're looking at, and this is the succession data model. Within the succession data model, you can see different sections of the succession data model, and also in the event derivation rules, you can see the rule ID, you can see the event itself, so the position transfer, you can see the condition, and also the ID that you're tagged to for this particular event. With that, let me break it here.
So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I said, Hari, I'm going to go through, basically, it's not a structured way. I'm sorry for that. I didn't prepare for that, but I try to, go on a, I'll take a user and run through the life cycle, how the performance can be achieved for the particular user. Basically, we do general settings using the company settings. Say, for example, we are implementing SuccessFactors for a company called XYZ. We're going to set up some company settings using company settings, and then we'll create a new users using manage employees, and here we can export the existing users, and we can add new users and make some modifications. Example, like adding a manager and which department the user belongs. We can import the users into the system and then assign the permissions using set user permissions for that particular user. And once the user is in the system, then we can create, we can go on to the goal management. And before that, we can also set up some templates using company settings. Basically, for goal management, performance management, or compensation, we need rating scales and route maps. Those are the two important things needed for that. The rating scales can be created using the company settings. The SuccessFactors, recommended rating scale is 1 to 5. Basically, the order could be either way, like 1 could be high and 5 could be low. Or we can create some different rating scales. Yeah. And then the managed routing route maps is nothing but creating workflows. During the process, how the form flow in the process. Basically, either it's going from employee to manager, or maybe a second level manager, or going to HR. And we can also use modify form route map, basically where there's different stages are available. So we are going to look through that. Once these setups are done, basically we can go into the admin tools where we have to set up the templates either for the goals or performance management and compensation. Basically, in the manage templates, we can set up these templates. Basically, SuccessFactors also provides a library for the templates. We can also create custom templates based on the client requirement. As you can see here, there are certain templates exist already. Once that template is ready, we can go into the employee portion where we can use these templates which can be used for the particular employee to create a goal. You can go into the goals and assign these goals based on the template assigned to the particular employee. And these goals can be cascaded. If you are a manager, you can cascade the goals to your direct reports, and you can also set the set how much portion is completed. We can track the goals during the year. It could be a quarterly, it could be half-yearly, or typically annual actually, which can be used for the performance management purpose. How the goals are being attained by the user basically. So once the goals are completed, then we can move on to the performance management. Before we do any performance management, just make sure the templates are ready and the roadmaps are ready. In the manage templates, as I said, SuccessFactors also provides a library of templates. We can use them, we can tweak them, and in the performance reviews, basically, typically it's for the annual reviews where goals are also come into the place. Basically, the goals can be linked to the performance management, and in the performance management, first we use the template which can be assigned to a particular employee, and the templates, once it is assigned to an employee, it moves from there are three different stages actually. It moves from one stage to another stage. Basically, it's a modify and signature and completion stages are there. In these stages, basically we had to set up a setting. This is a annual review for an employee. In this, we are going to mention the form, performance management form, which we are going to use, and we are going to specify which route map, either it's employee to manager or employee to the HR. We are going to provide the route map. These two, rating scale and route map, has to be set up before we use them for the performance management purpose. So as you see, these are already set up, and we are going to use these rating scale as well as route map for that particular employee. And once these are in place, then we can move the form into different stages basically. And under the edit fields and sections, you can see basically the name of the form, and in the objectives, we are going to link these goals actually here. Whatever the goals we set up for this year, we can link it here. This is a key component between the goal management and performance management. We can link the goals, and also we can link the route maps. We can also, in the performance management, we can have, in the template, we can set up job specific template and core competencies, also, if we can create some custom competencies, we had to set up these things so that we can use in performance management. As you can see, there are core competencies was already in place, and which we can see how these can be rated by the managers, and once the setup been done, we can use them in the performance management. And in the job specific competencies, you can see that we have to provide the name and the type of the competency. Once these are in place, basically we can move into different stages. I mean, based on the roadmap, actually the stages can be moved. Once the performance is completed, it can come into the signature stage where the acceptance between the employee and manager can be done, and which can be passed down to the compensation based on their rating scale and based on the performance summary, basically how the employee is doing for that particular year. Basically, you can see here the total is 100%, but how these are divided as objectives 34%, core values 33%, and job specific competencies is 33%. So yeah, I mean, this is the general process, and once this performance is completed, we can move on to the compensation management, where the employee will be compensated based on the performance. Actually, it's based on if an employee is performing well, he may get a good rating, and also he may get a good annual amount. Or if the employee is not performing well, probably they will assign a new goals where employee can be where employee can try to attain the new goals to improve his skill set, or based on the feedback basically by the manager. So I'm sure it's not pretty formal, but I try as much as I could. As I said, I didn't prepare well actually for this.
That's fine. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Thank you.
And I want to finish off with this slide. Basically, here you can see this. Actually, this is how the progress has been done. The forms in the performance management can be moved in different portions actually. Basically, if I open for one employee, basically once employee can do self-rating, and it can be sent to the manager, and manager will approve it, and it will send back, either he can send back to the employee, or he can send it to the manager, which is called enrouting. Basically, in this process, the form moves from one place to another place actually. Once the forms are completed, they will move on to the completion stage where the complete performance can be done. Okay, that's all, Hari.
Okay, very good, very good. Very good. Mahesh, you wanted to look at workflow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So and there is one more gentleman, Shri. Could you introduce yourself, Shri? I mean, I don't know. We never. Hello. Yeah, may I know who this is, Shri? Okay, Mahesh, go ahead. Yeah, I shared your screen.
Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. So to covering about event reasons and also workflows.
Yeah. Can you make it big? Can you make it full screen?
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So events are the actions in terms of employee management, and we have about 25 predefined actions in employee center, and you cannot create new events, but you can modify as per your need, and for that you can export the events into uh, from the picklets management, and also and then you can do the changes and upload it back.
So how does this thing tie back to the event derivation rules that we saw?
Yeah, it will come in like down a little bit. One second. So event reasons are the reasons for which the events are triggered, and basically events are the transactions which occur within the employee lifecycle. So it could be a hire event, promotion event, demotion event, or anything for that matter. And every event should have an event reason accompanying it. Just 1 minute. So event reasons are used to trigger any events or transactions for an employee in the employee center, and even managers can do this and uh, make the changes to employee files. So how do you create event reason is you need to go into uh, company settings and manage organization pay and job structures, and then you click on select event reason, and then set the effective date because it is a required field, and then populate the event ID, status, event, and this example is about promotion with pay increase, and click on save. So coming to event reason rules.
Yeah, go up again. That event, go up again, go up.
Yeah,
You go to company settings.
manage
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
organization pay
Okay, it
and
is in the
job
manage.
structure.
Okay, it is in the it is same
Yeah,
in the manage. Okay,
yeah,
could you log in for a second? I just want to see.
yeah.
Oh, you already logged in. Okay. Yeah, company settings, manage org.
Just 1 minute. I'm not getting the place to go down here. Uh, where's that?
I thought it's basically an employee files.
Yep,
Yeah.
in the middle. Yep. So either you can create one or you can just look at the from the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at one that's already existing. So
And while this is happening, I just wanted to add on the compensation part. There are basically 4 steps in compensation. First is the admin setup. You set up your comp plan. You set up your salary pay matrix. You set up your eligibility rules. Your like currency conversion, and also the route maps. And after that, you launch the form to the managers or the group of managers, and then they in turn do the recommendations, and then it goes to the signature stage or the completion stage to the HR, and then the compensation statement is generated for all the employees respectively. So this is for compensation in brief. Actually, it's a quick summary, and then all the reviews are done through 4 methods. First is the focal review, which focal review is actually yeah, I'm not getting that. And then next is the annual based review, wherein anniversary based review, wherein every year on that particular date you do the review. Or another review is comparatio, that is you compare the existing job with the company, with the industry standards. You establish mean, median, and you do the review with the use of some surveys, and then third party agency will do the surveys, and you arrive what best can be offered, and you have a range penetration as well as a review at a style, wherein you have max and low, max and minimum, and you have a formula for calculating the salary, and you can do salary adjustment, basic pay changes, bonus, stock, and perks or whatever. So compensation can be used for many such things like this. So it can minimize risk. It can follow. It can like enable us to follow the statutory rules and regulations, and it is very easy, intuitive, and it is secure as well, and it is accurate and takes away the manager bias, and it is very user friendly. So that's in brief about the compensation. I don't know, somehow this is not opening.
What is not opening? You can do search, yeah. In the search, yeah. In the search. Go down, event should be event, yeah. Yep, event reasons. You should see nothing is there. And or create new, doesn't matter. Yeah, go create new. Yeah. Maybe there is nothing there. How can that be? It's not possible. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how it will look. So you need to put in the effective date, the event reason ID, the event reason name, description, and then status. The event, you have to tag an event to this, and status can be active, inactive.
Drop down on the events. Yeah, that should match what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, yep, okay.
Yeah.
Demotion, job change, assignment, leave of absence, okay?
Yeah. And then employment status, so all that. And then if you want, you can tie it to a payroll event as well. And then display. And then you click on save. Once you're done, you click on save. That's it.
Okay. So there are no event reasons. I'm shocked. I mean, this system should have event reasons. Go back again.
I know, that's what I was also looking surprised.
Hari and Mahesh, I think you have it. You just have to select the drop down
Yeah,
where the no selection is written. Because remember, Hari, when I showed on the system, it has.
The company, yeah. Yeah, it is accompanied with the event, so that's why the selection had to be done here as well. So here, this is how it will be configured. Yes.
Okay.
Mahesh,
So you
what are
can
the
change.
payroll events here? Payroll events could be like, say, if it is a termination or
Yeah, yeah.
promotion.
If you want to stop the pay or something, yeah, you can do that. And if it is not having an impact on payroll, you can say no here. And if it is
Oh,
a promotion with pay increase, you can say yes here,
oh,
because
okay.
the pay is getting changed. So that way, and then if it's a demotion with pay change, again you can say yes here. So it's like that. Yes.
It basically a text actually. It provides an
Yeah, yeah,
idea. It's okay.
yeah, yeah. Should this event reason trigger a payroll event? That's what it is asking. That's it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You can say yes or no, and accordingly it will take care.
Oh, okay.
And then you can make corrections also to the existing event reason. So this is about the event reason.
It's equivalent to PA30 with
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the change as okay.
exactly. Yeah. It's equivalent to PA40 actually. You're doing an event reason.
Yeah, PA40 and PA30 is with the correction, right?
Correct,
Basically,
right,
it's a
yes.
combination. Mhm.
Right, right. So this is an example for promotion with pay increase. So event is promotion, then you have to create the rules. So event reason rules will trigger event reason based on if there is a change on job or compensation, like if it is a promotion or a demotion or a transfer. So manager can do it without without manager self-service, and it will trigger a correction event or event reason or event. So like the event reason rules come from event reason derivation data model. So it has 5 steps or 5 parts. First is the rule ID, and that is the syntax, how to write the rule ID, and uh, example is rule ID is equal to rule 1, and then event
So
ID.
this part is exactly how you're triggering the event, right? So you created an event, right, in the previous step.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is how you're going to be triggering that event.
Yeah. So you're going to use these 5 steps or 5 parts, and then you have to mention the event ID, what you're expecting that event to be, and then you're closing the tag, and it should match the event ID should match the event reason ID which you created earlier. So first you create the reason ID, and then you create the rules. So this has to be matching, means promotion with pay increase. We did a event reason right earlier. So simultaneously we are creating an event reason rule, wherein again we are mentioning the same ID like PROP WP, that is promotion with pay increase.
Mhm.
It has to match, and we can do you cannot create rules for these events. This has to be kept in mind. This is very important, like for hire, rehire, termination, LOA, and return to work. We cannot create rules. It is auto-defined, means predefined by success factors. And then you have conditions, and you have logical operands like and, or, XOR, and we also have comparative operands like greater, lesser, or equal to. So if you are doing a promotion with pay increase, you generally use greater. If you're doing a demotion, you're going to use lesser. If you're going to do a lateral job transfer, you're going to use equal. So this is very important, all these 5 steps, so 5 parts. So you need to keep this in mind while writing the derivation rules for any of the event reasons.
So among 24 actions, these I think 5 or 6
25.
we cannot do.
Yeah, 25. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically, for remaining all, we can do. We can
Yeah.
write the event rules.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the comparative operands like and, or, this one. no, greater, lesser, and equal. I just mentioned that, and like that go inside of logical operand, and it requires a HRIS field ID, and it will be basically impacting succession data model, and and also the corporate data model. So that's what I said. Lesser is demotion with pay, without pay change. So you use this, and you have operands and comparative operands. So these are the logical operands, and then you close the tag with the slash and. So these are the example, like promotion with pay, transfer, and demotion. So you use X or. Then greater means annual salary increase, lesser means salary decrease, equal means lateral job change, no salary change. And then all this can be done. And then how you can create is you need to first go into provisioning, and you need to export the current event derivation or event rules data model, event reason derivation data model, and then you make the changes as you want. And then save the data model, and then import it back to provisioning system under the event reason derivation rules data model. So once the data model is exported, you need to check if it is working as expected. So you need to choose an employee and give him a promotion with pay increase, and if you are configured correctly, this should work.
And then if I have to trigger a workflow based on this event.
Yeah, we are coming to that. So a workflow is an approval process that goes as per your reporting relationship you set up, the manager-employee relationship you already defined, and every event will have an event reason which can be tagged to a workflow, and many event reasons can use the same workflow. And example here is a new hire. HR will initiate a new hire transaction. It goes to employees manager and also to finance. And then for promotion, again another example, HR will initiate it. It will go to employees manager, and then go to finance. So how are they configured? Again, workflow has elements which we need to be very sure on that understanding. First is a workflow ID. It is a unique ID. It cannot have a duplicate, and you need to have a name of the workflow. You need to provide a small description of the workflow, and you can order the steps from first to last. And actually there are like 3 types of approvers. So you need to know what is a rule, dynamic role, and also dynamic group. Role is like employee, employees manager, employees managers manager, or employees HR. And dynamic role is like it is based on the job or the event reason, and it can be configured from admin tools, employee files, manage organization, pay, and job structures. Dynamic group is it is created on some criteria, and it is having role-based permissions with it, and certain permission roles are given to a group of people, and anybody in that group can approve this, and it can go forward. And you can also set a context to it, say it is a current role or a future role. Is it a source or a target? So you can mention that. And then whether you want the person who is getting the workflow to approve or to make any correction to the workflow, or you don't want, you can say yes or no for that. And then you can allow the approver to update in case you want, and say yes to the edit transaction field. And then workflow contributor, like they can add comments if you want, and then you can set that to yes or no as well. And then contributor type, you can mention whether it is an role, dynamic role, or dynamic group. Like dynamic role is determined by the system itself. So, and it has to be an active employee. And CC role is a person who's just intimated. That's it. So he is just informed that this is triggered, or this event has happened, or just for information's sake, you have the CC role. And even in CC role, you have a role, dynamic group, and a person. And you can add an external email as well. So this will be important when you're hiring, when you're separating, when you're transferring all those events. So creating workflow, again, you have to come into employee files and manage pay job structures. And you need to select the create new workflow, and then you need to put in the ID, and then you have to put in the approvers, approver types. So you have the approver type role. First role is employees HR, and he's the source. And then approver type, step 2, approver type is employees managers manager. Again, he'll be the source, and then he'll become the contributor. And
Mahesh, could you go to the same place where you're? Yeah.
You mean
Go back to the success factors. Yep, go back. Same thing. Search workflow right now, right there in the bottom. No, in the right there, right there. Yep, search. Yep. Put up. Yep, clear drop down selection. Just pick something. So workflow is also created in the manage, organization, pay, and job structure, just like the events.
Yeah.
So whatever Mahesh is talking about right now, as you can see here, you can see step 1, step 2. So this is how the workflow is, is created, and it's right here. And then and then the workflow gets triggered based on the event, that event or the event derivation rule that you have created.
Oh man.
Yep. So I don't know. Yeah. Add a position. Yeah, that would be a good one. Actually, add a position.
Okay. Right.
So adding a new position, that looks like a good workflow, and somebody needs to approve this particular workflow. So we talked about the 2 steps, right? In the step 1, I don't see step 2 here. Let's go take action and then say change. Take action. Make correction. Yeah. Down. So yeah, you can see step 1, step 2. So in this thing, they used step 1 as a dynamic group, but she can do a role. So it's, his manager or the senior manager is going to be approving it. Again, you can do a step 2. It will be HR, person who's going to be approving it. It's a typical new employee hire, and then the approver role typically would be a manager, and then go ahead. So this is how you configure step 1, step 2, contributors, CC, as well as go down off the bottom. Go down.
Yeah. CC role.
Yep.
Contributor, and then you click on save.
And then this has to be triggered by an event.
Yeah. So there are some rules as well for this. So again, you have to use those 5 pieces like rule ID, event ID, conditions, logical operands, and comparative operands.
Yeah, the
So
triggering is always done, using this XML structure. Remember, okay?
yeah, yeah,
The creation of that ID is always using the same place, within the org structure, and then triggering is always, using it's called the hook, or the trigger is always using the XML.
so how are events identified? Like from an external code, it can be identified. If you are looking at a pick list, you can, by 4 you mean it is a demotion, H is higher, R is rehire, 8 is a promotion. So if you downloaded all the events in a pick list, so this is how you identify them, and then external code is this 4, H, R, 8. So all the events will respectively have their own external codes. So again, you need to, how do you like change the workflow rule is you need to go to provisioning system, update modify templates, and you need to export the workflow derivation rules, and then you need to make your changes, and you can upload it back.
Yep.
So that's about it.
Okay, very good. I think, in a nutshell, I think what we learning is that there are events, there are event derivation rules, there are workflows, there are workflow rules that you need to
Yeah,
tag, and there are regular rules that we're going to look at right now. Regular rules are, anything that you can use to substitute something, default something, set an error message to something, pop-up message, just a typical IT stuff, right? My start date has to be before today's date. you know I want to default, if it is US, I want to make it, social security required mandatory, things like that, right? So rules. So to maintain the integrity of the system, and also to make sure system users are getting the pop-up messages, the system issued messages, typical IT 101, right? Validation of a field, substitution of a field, um, defaulting something to a field. Those are all done using rules. Okay. And the rules are, let me take over. Okay. Basically, a rule looks like this. The rules are created in the company settings. There is an option called business rules, company settings, business rules, and we'll go into that in a second. And then you basically create a rule. Rule has a rule ID. In this case, it's called ONI, and you give a real rule name, and you select the object that rule will apply to. In this case, it's the employee information. And you can do an if statement, means when this rule should be triggered, when this would not triggered, actually will apply. Okay. So in this case, he didn't do anything, means this rule applies all the time. And then he can do multiple steps. What he's doing here is he's taking national ID information dot is primary, that's a field. He's setting that equal to S. And then national ID information dot country, he's setting that to USA. And national ID dot card type equal to social security. He's defaulting those three things, um, whenever this rule gets triggered, basically. So let's go take a look at that rule itself. So where is my success factors? Give me a second. Oh, my success factors is over here. company settings, business rules. Okay, you set up everything right here in the business rules section. The trick for rule is that you can define rules for a employee central field, and you can also set up rules for the metadata framework, MDF, which means any object that SuccessFactors has, anything that is non-EC related. You can set up rules for that too. You can set up rules for MDF objects. You can set up rules for EC, both places. So this is where all the rules are set up. I think these are pretty generic rules. Let's go look at some nice ones. National ID. I think this must be it. Okay, perfect. So the one we're looking at, rule ID is national init ID, USA national ID, and the object is employee information. If you want, you can take actions, you can make correction, you can copy the rule, make it into a new rule, you can permanently delete the rule. Let's say make action. And here this is the pretty key. This is where you will have access to making changes in the then statement if you use the correct rule. And then here you can add an expression. You can clear all. You can add another expression right here. You can go to another pencil. You can add another, pick another, field, or I can do another message. I can set means I'm changing the value, right, of that particular field. Raise means I'm issuing a pop-up to whenever somebody takes an action. Let's say, for example, if the rule is the start date of an employee should be greater than today, then you can say raise a message. Your if statement should be start date equals to today, or greater than today, and your then should be raise a message. So if you want to substitute something, then if is always equal to it's nothing, and you can say set something else equal to something. So you can change the value, you can default something, you can change the value, or you can raise a message using the rules. And then the rules are used in this thing called configure business rules within the company settings. And there are a lot of rules, take a look at them, how, and then these will be triggered. How do you trigger these rules? Basically, you trigger the rules in a corporate or country specific succession model, or you can also trigger these rules in the pick list. Within the pick list object definitions, you can also trigger the rules metadata framework. So in this particular example, you can see the HRIS element is the national ID card, the label, and the rule is this one, INIT. This is the rule that we created in the object rule business process rules definition. So this is the trigger, and the trigger is the event, which is the on init. So on initiation, you're going to trigger this particular rule, and this has been defined in the corporate model. So this is how the rule gets triggered. And then the events, are many types of events. I think we did talk about that. Let me see. There should be many types of events. I didn't take that screenshot, but like on init, on delete, on there should be many types of events that you can code using a rule event list. Okay, and then once when the rule gets triggered, means when I'm creating an employee data or employee file. So the outcome of this is like this. So the country gets defaulted to United States. The national ID card type would be social security number. You have to type in the social security number, and then is primary equal to S. So the outcome of this particular rule is this. So you can see all the three steps: create the rule, trigger the rule, and this is the outcome of that particular rule. That is meant when you're creating the employee, you're defaulting the country you're defaulting the type, you're defaulting the is primary. Right? Is that clear? So basically, it helps, give some definition to your system, default something, put a pop-up message, do some validation. So it can be used for any basic IT 101 kind of a stuff. So let's say you're implementing the system only for the US, right? You can always default the company, let's say only have one company. So you can always default, to that just one company, for example. Or this is another example. If it's only in United States, the country is always going to be US. So why even think about Mexico? Why even think about Canada? A lot of examples based on the job code we talked about, based on the time zone, based on the certain foundation objects. You can default some things. It's almost like a propagation rules. I mean, very similar. But this is just different type of rules. So another type of rules, this is the MDF type of rule. So what he's saying is that it's a position object. Start date for the new position has to be a future date. It cannot be past date. And based on that, you create a pop-up message saying, hey, start date must be later than a future date. So you should do a pop-up message. That's a rule, basically. So you can set that up. This rule has to be needs to be set up in the configure object definitions place. You have to go into the pick list. You have to do a drop down called rule type and go into advanced, and then you will see all the different drop downs for the pick list, and you put a rule at the very bottom, and then it would actually get triggered when that particular pick list or when that particular data element is being validated within the system. So in this case, they're creating a rule. So the same place, rule name is start date. Basically, the rule object is position. Whenever the position that you're creating, the start date, and if you do an if statement saying that the date for that particular position should be greater than today's date, and in the then statement you do a pop-up message, basically, and then you assign that back to your within the pick list type, within the rules, you assign the rule back to that particular pick list. This is a different way of triggering it, hook, basically. So one way of triggering it is using XML file. Another way of triggering it is right in the pick list section in the object definition. You can create a rule and attach the rule back to the object definition. Two different ways. So I think it's good that we looked at rules, we looked at events, we looked at the workflow. I think these are the three key things that we need to refine your skills going forward. I think we need to basically set up a lot more scenarios. I know we've been kind of looking at this thing at a very high level, but I think the next steps would be actually create some scenarios to see how these rules are created. How do I actually create an XML hook, and how do I actually trigger those things? I want to see those actions being done within the system. I think we have to do some live scenarios and live demos of these advanced concepts, which are rules, events, and workflow. I see those three things going forward that we need to practice.
Hari, for this provisioning system is important if we require the access for that.
Yep. So these are I think we are pretty much comfortable. I think everybody basic mastery. I think everybody looks pretty familiar with how to navigate, how to get into the system, how do you go around, how do you do security and things. That's very easy. I think we got pretty comfortable in the goals. Performance, we just looked at it. Compensation, I think we got very familiar with compensation. And then we got into EC, we get into data models. I think we got very good at that. 7 data models, looking at XML files, and then we got very good at actually creating employee record. We looked at that, creating an employee record, and then basically changing an employee record. Basically ESS, MSS concept, self-service. We looked at those things last time. Navigation, creating time cards. It's a basic navigation. A lot of other things that we probably didn't look at in detail, but it should be pretty easy. I think the things that we need to master are really these 3 things going forward, I think. And then show some real live scenarios or examples of these rules, events, and workflows. I want to see us create a rule. I want to see us create a hook. I want to see that rule being triggered, in front of our eyes. I want to see that event creation. I want to see the event, XML hook being defined, and I want to see it. So I know some are already imported. We don't have to have all these things are there. I think we just need to find the right rule, find the right event, find the right workflow, and then get them triggered. Because there are people who have access to the same system that you're practicing, they're practicing. So we just need to find the right sequence of data to be able to hit the right things. We can assume we have provisioning system because all these people that practicing there, they have the same system. And I see the workflows when I log in. Actually, I see the workflows. So people have been playing around with it. See, I see a lot of 48 workflow requests. So somebody's playing around with these things. New hires, data changes, promotions, position transfers, salary increases. So we need to pick the right scenarios. Don't worry about the provisioning system because they already created the rules, they already created the events. Let's run through some scenarios so we have a very clear understanding of when these things are triggering. Okay, so that's probably be the next step to see. I think we understand the concepts now. We understand the mastery. We understand the basic flow. We know how to create goal, templates, right? Goal templates, cascading, things like that. And we know performance templates. We know compensation templates. I think we got pretty good.
We also checked workforce analytics and reporting.
Yep. This needs a lot of practice. I mean, there's nothing much to it, nothing fundamental to it. Just needs a practice. So I'll leave it up to you guys. It's nothing really, hard and concrete there. These 4, basically you have a lot of material, a lot of videos, lots of documentation. You should be thorough and perfect in those things. We have already completed these things. We just reviewed these data models. You should be very thorough. So I think these 3 are very tricky a little bit. Not very tricky, but you need to really understand them in depth. And that's where we're going to focus on from next week. Basically looking at some real life scenarios. If you have time, please take a look at these scenarios. And Mahesh and Anaga, and then so let's practice. Let's look at these things today. Let's see what these guys have done. Let's see, hire, consult, new hire. Let's look at new hire. So basically, I have a pending workflow request for a new hire, and I can take an action. I can change approvers. I can remove approvers. I can route the request. I can decline it. I can add another approver. Basically, I can take a lot of actions. I can click on these things. And it was requested by certain person. So workflows are just basic approvals. And workflows actually take an action means that piece of data would be effective only after it was approved. Basically, the hire date is that, job title is an assembler, salary, job information, and you can look at all this information and you can take an action on these things. So this won't be effective until the required people or the requested people actually take an action on this particular piece of information. And then I think it would be good to kind of run through the scenario, create an employee, and then the very first step is this needs to trigger and then go and then become an employee record later on. So it's been pending for 1,000 days. That can't be right. Status in pending, requested by Adam, requested by Nancy Nash. I'm going to lock down, add another approver, change approver, remove approver, decline it. So I can take a lot of actions. So basically, this is the outcome of what Mahesh has been talking about, the workflow. So you create the workflow, you create the trigger within the workflow, and basically this is the outcome. This is pending for somebody to approve it, and the employee record gets created behind the scenes.
Some of this will require action, some of this will be CC, some of this will be information only, all those things will be there here. And as this role is an admin role, he'll get notification for everything.
Salary increase notification here. I'm taking an action. I think, yeah, this actually went, so Darla Sharp needs to really approve this thing. No, I think no, request, this is Darla Sharp is the person, would be, let me see here. So VP needs to approve it, Carla Grant needs to approve it, and Nancy Nash needs to she needs to approve it next. Nancy Nash. Maybe we can see if we can go into Nancy Nash's thing. Proxy into Nancy Nash. Proxy now. Doesn't show up. Oh, it's there. So all the pending stuffs for her. Salary increase, that was we're looking at. Okay. Then here I approve. Excuse me. And this is approved. But I think the goal, I mean, we've seen the end result, but the goal is we need to trigger it, look at the configuration, and then make that event happen. It's pretty easy. I don't think so. I think we just need to spend a couple of hours more to complete the sequence, right, Mahesh? I think everything is there in the system.
Yeah, I think so.
So we just need to find the right trigger. That means actually trigger the event, create an employee, do the salary increase, rehire the employee, trigger it, do the proxy, and
so
then
probably we need to like download the employees and know the relationships, who's reporting to whom and all that. And once we identify a good data, we can, I think, trigger something, because it is already there existing, so we can just try and trigger and see if it will work.
Yeah, all these things are events that you just talked about, right? So
yeah,
position transfers, events, it all just talked about. And then I'm just going to click here. I'm going to approve one more thing. looking at the compensation worksheet here, and it's salary, target pay, compensation. Yeah, this is someone else, not this person. That's why it doesn't show the approval. So, okay. So I think we are very familiar with. Let me go back to the admin panel here just to summarize and recap. We completed that. We completed that. Employee files. I think in the company settings we just looked at these two. I think we need to get mastery on these business rules, get mastery on this define object definition. These two are kind of linked together. Basically, I think we know what this is. We looked at the logo, we looked at theme manager, we looked at test replacement. These are all APIs, integrations. They just enabled it. It's SuccessFactors APIs. Basically, we know what rating scales are. We know what the pick lists are. We know the org chart configuration. We know the route maps. We know the rating scales. We know the job roles. We know the competencies. Okay, we know all these things. We know all these things. I think these are the key things. This is a key thing. This is a key thing. Okay, really have to practice these two things: business rules and definitions. And everything else is pretty easy.
Why didn't you click on the star next to it? It will be added to your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Yeah, and that one. Okay, you need to practice those two, and then employee files. Obviously, I think that we need to spend a lot of time on this one here, right here. Manage our structure. So everything else is easy, easy, easy. Workflow requests, time cards, dynamic roles, translations, badges, master data. Everything else is pretty easy. Okay, this and these two, I think we need to focus more from next classes. We're just gonna meet. I mean, right here. Okay, so we're just gonna meet ad hoc. I'm traveling for next couple of weeks. Same thing with Mahesh. He's traveling for next couple of weeks. We won't be able to meet. Maybe we can. I mean, of course, traveling means I don't have any work. So we'll meet ad hoc whenever you guys want. Anaga, I think looks like you may be free because you're home. So whenever we have some
Yes,
stuff
sir.
to show, whenever we have a scenario, let's all schedule some time. Let's schedule like an hour and then walk through these live scenarios. So we have a clear understanding of when these things are getting triggered.
Okay.
I'm not really working for working means I'm on vacation next couple of weeks, traveling, but I'll have time to, work with you guys in an ad hoc basis. So I'll just send a note out saying, no, it's not mandatory, optional for everybody, because your schedules and families and things. So if I have time, I'll just send out an email saying, hey, let's meet. And if you have time, just meet. If not, no worries. I'll record the session. I'll send it to you. Okay. And we had the difficulty registering the ID for the success factors certification. Mahesh, could you explain that process? I mean, I know you were struggling. Could you explain us the process?
Yeah, actually, things are not very clear on the SuccessFactors side. Like there is no set procedure available saying that these are the steps. You need to go into like certification shop and then register for certification in the cloud, and then it will be triggered, like a workflow will be triggered to somebody, and then those people will create a S user ID and send it back to you, and then you need to go into Pearson view and then schedule a date. So
Why
it
is
is
why is
somewhat,
Pearson view? Why is Pearson view in the middle now? Again.
yeah, because they are the ones who will go into Proctor remotely. So
Oh,
SAP, yeah, SAP has already what to say, has a tie-up with them, and they'll be like proctoring the exam. remotely.
So you need to go into the training.sap.com, look for the SAP
Yeah.
certification portal, register for
Yeah,
it
on cloud. Yeah, on cloud. Yeah.
on cloud, get a voucher, create
Yeah.
an SID, go to
Correct.
this Pearson's view,
Pearson. Yeah.
put in your certificate, your
Voucher.
voucher number, register for
Yeah.
it, and they will proctor
Yeah.
it. Oh my goodness, a lot of steps.
Yeah. And there is a mail ID, and you need to send it to them, and you need to produce 2 forms of ID before you take the exam, and they'll watch you remotely through your computer's uh, camera, and you need to like show the environment in the room as well, and you should not do any hanky-panky thing. If you do, then they will ban you for life.
Register for
You will
cloud
not be able to take
certification,
any exam related to SAP.
get voucher,
Wow.
SID, and then go to Pearson Wu, register for certification. They will proctor you, register for date. You will be monitored, and then take test. 80 questions. You need to get 60 right. So those are kind of the steps. Go to training, register for SuccessFactors Cloud certification, get a voucher. It's about $650, right? Get a
Yeah,
site.
about $635.
Huh?
635, I think, approx. I don't know. I'm not
35
sure.
something.
I've already paid it. Yeah, I have to take it.
Yeah. So pay and get voucher. Then get SID, and then go to Pearson's View, register certification, and give the voucher. The voucher. So these are kind of the steps. That's why it's taking longer for us to register. It's like they'll, once you get stuck in the process, it takes about a couple of days for them to respond.
Yeah.
So Mahesh, you got a scheduled date now or still trying?
No, not yet. Not yet. I need to schedule it still.
Oh, okay.
Until the SID is already done, I need to follow, like after that, I need to do steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and certification is mandatory, so I would not strongly, but I would. It's mandatory, guys. You all have to take it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have a plan of action, right?
Yeah.
Practice
Yes.
these 3 things. Practice real life scenarios. I have questions, by the way. We have questions and answers. We will share that with you. Go through this list and then take the exam, get certified, and get a job. So that's the plan.
The certification is for modules, and each module, if you want to take, it will cost $635, and if you don't clear the exam, you have to take it again. And yeah, currently most of it is open, like PMGM, EC, compensation.
Maybe if you're not comfortable with the EC, take PMGM. That's pretty easy. Should be easy to take.
So which modules you guys are planning for right now?
We are planning for EC.
Yeah,
EC is what's in demand.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, EC is really in demand. It's more complicated, obviously, right? So that's why it's in demand.
Yeah, right.
And also it is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have to clear 63 questions out of 80 questions. You have 3 hours time,
63
multiple
questions.
choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think they also mention, like, if they have a particular question and they have multiple choice, they also tell you how many
Are correct.
answers are going to be right in that. So it's
Correct.
like a kind of hint they give you.
Right. Like they are going to ask questions on all the areas. So there is a breakup. I think I added to the G drive. I don't remember. So we need to concentrate on all the areas because they're going to check on all the areas. I'm just talking about EC module.
Okay, the videos are very good. The videos that I uploaded for all these different modules, when you have time, take a look at these videos. They're excellent, excellent videos. Please, if you have any taking notes or something, please pass it on to all of us. And then from next week, we'll just meet on an ad hoc basis. And if you are practicing, I would encourage you to create some videos and share it with other people, or create some notes and share it. Either way.
Hari, I had a question for you. Can we, ask the person who has access to professional system to, give us a download of whatever the current XML data models have been uploaded? Like, so we have an idea,
Yeah,
what.
I don't think we need to ask them. We can download it. So yeah, we can find them on partner profile. I'll do that.
No, I mean, we have the XML structure, but they are from the partner portal, right? We needed something which has already been uploaded, and there are some changes into those XML files.
No, actually, the ones I have are the ones uploaded here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ones I have are the ones given by the same guy who uploaded them.
Oh, okay. I see.
But we can definitely get the latest ones also. So that's another thing we're trying to get, is the access to the partner profile. That even they don't understand how it is given. They don't have a process.
Okay.
Just ask them how we can download information regarding PMGM or whatever module we have taken license for. Just ask them if you want material related to that. Where will we find that? So
Yeah.
there should be some place wherein we can get access to.
Okay, that's about it for today. So we're just gonna meet from next week. No Sunday classes. We'll just meet ad hoc as needed. And I'll email this thing to you guys, and then just I think Mahesh did upload all the created a folder called certification. Uploaded all the documentations in that folder. Um, that's about it. Any questions, Anaga, Suresh, Mahesh?
So Mahesh, today's presentations are also uploaded already, or?
I already sent it to Hari. He should be uploading it.
Yeah, I can do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, that will be fine, Hari. I think we'll be, so we'll be in touch base with, you guys, and let's plan something.
Yeah. So hopefully we did a reasonable job or a good job covering all the things for you guys.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we'll do
Yes,
one more.
yes.
Yeah, we'll do one more session on these things. These things.
yeah, this is pretty helpful actually. It gives a complete overview. And I know we need to put more practice on this and get a familiar, but concepts wise, it's pretty clear actually.
Okay, then have a good day, gentlemen. Enjoy the day.
Yeah, bye,
Thank,
bye guys.
Bye.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.